here down at Black Sheep in Amherst, talking to Megan Lyster.
Hi.
Hey, tell us a little bit about yourself, Megan.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I am. I've
You're
lived.
all serious?
What?
You're
No,
all serious?
no, just a little bit. So I've lived in Massachusetts since 1998, and before that I lived in Colorado, which was awesome. I came out here to go to college, and I never left. And now I work at Amherst College, and I'm the Director of Innovation Programs in the Center for Community Engagement.
So what does that mean?
It means that I do work with students and other members of our campus and local community around the places where social innovation and entrepreneurship, or like new emerging models and how to engage pressing social problems, intersects with community engagement.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the fact that we're going to work together.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome. And right now, for Amherst Together, we're collecting perception data.
Awesome.
In the town. Mm-hmm. And you and I talked about utilizing that data
Yep.
to work with the innovation design method.
Right.
Am I
Yep.
saying this right? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm still learning it. So
It's
I'm
cool.
just an expert. So bear with me. So let's talk about that.
Okay.
How are we going to take that data and utilize it this summer with the PVCS students?
Cool.
Yeah.
So the idea is that so we're going to utilize the design thinking method,
And let's
which
talk
is
about
what.
the PVCS students really quickly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Those are students, Amherst College students that work with the community engagement during the summertime, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's learning about community while living in community.
Perfect.
So they live in Amherst over the summer and work at various sites around Amherst and Holyoke, and they also do coursework and it's really about becoming whole people.
Perfect. Okay,
Yeah.
now go back. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we'll be working with those students.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, okay, my turn again. So we're going to be working with a group of students who are in the PVCS program to use the perception data that you guys are gathering through Amherst Together. And the idea is to sort of plug it into a design thinking methodology.
Right.
So design thinking kind of comes out of the design world, people who are thinking about how to make stuff for other people. And so what we're hoping to do is take the perception data and learn what we can about it, create some new questions based on what we learn, and then figure out how we want to engage the community around those questions by coming up with ideas that we want to prototype. So that can take any number of different forms, but the idea is to take thoughtful action and to learn from prototyping versus seeing that action as being the final solution.
So in essence, there's no real agenda in the approach.
No, not really.
The key is trying to learn something about the community while you're doing it.
Exactly.
Trial and error. Let's try this. If it doesn't work, let's try this. That way you really tailor it. You really do serve the community in that way.
Right. Well, and the hope is that it's design with the community versus design for the community.
Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? I'm a community member. How would that impact me, or how would I be a part of something like that?
Well, so it can take
It's a hard question.
yeah, I know, right? Well, so I can give you an interesting example.
Okay.
So over the summer, or actually at the beginning of the school year, there was a group of students in an orientation program that were looking at how to make our on-campus farm more visible. And so one of their ideas was to create signs. But rather than creating the signs themselves, they took a bunch of pieces of paper and went out into the community and asked community members to design signs for the farm that would appeal to them. So what would get you interested in this? What would make you want to learn more about the farm? And each person they approached hadn't heard about the farm.
Yeah.
So it was an opportunity to have a conversation about what the farm was and what it represents, in addition to getting some information from community members about what would be most meaningful to them. And it was so cool to see the signs that they brought back, because there were some commonalities in how people represented that idea.
Yeah.
But then there were also some really interesting differences and interesting ways in which people chose to represent it or talk about it.
Gotcha. That's really cool.
Awesome.
Part of the reason we have Amherst Together is the vision of the superintendent of schools. Mm-hmm. She wanted to work within the community to make sure that we better our schools, and we're consistently supporting our schools through community, through parents, through students, through all the entities based on Ron Ferguson's vision.
Right.
He's a professor at Harvard, and he's working with collective impact models across the nation. This is like the new thing for communities.
Right.
So our goal is to ultimately go from being a creativity hub to a collective impact infrastructure.
Awesome.
So we want to take this data, design, and ultimately get to the collective impact model.
Right.
Can you talk about getting from the design portion to the collective impact portion?
Sure.
Okay.
So, first of all, the concept behind collective impact is the idea that diverse actors across multiple sectors are coming together around a common problem, a common agenda. And so to say, all right, we're all kind of doing our own thing, but we're doing it in a way that's in partnership with one another and working towards a common goal.
Right.
So it's a really powerful way for communities to work together while acknowledging the distinct roles that lots of different actors in different sectors play. And so what I imagine that'll look like in the design thinking process is thinking about, first of all, who are those different actors?
Right.
Who should be involved in the process?
Right.
And then coming up with creative ways to engage them and allow them to be a part of the process and be creative. And making sure that a broad spectrum of voices in the community are heard.
Right. And the exciting part is that with the design model method that we're using, it gets people to engage creatively
Right.
and evolve organically.
Yeah.
And that's the part I like. You're not assigning. You're not just coming up with an agenda and saying, how do we get people to follow this? But you're actually engaging people in the creative process of getting to that place where they're engaged.
That's exactly right. And I think that's what will be so exciting for the students who will work on this is that it's very much thinking about how do you inspire creativity? How do you inspire people to be curious about the process, about their community, about themselves?
Sometimes people want to go, what exactly are you working on? What's the initiative? What's the goal? What's the problem? What's the solution?
Right.
And that's the traditional method. And it's a mindset shift that we're asking people to partake in, right? It's like you have to shift it and think about, get rid of all that for the moment.
Right.
And as a whole community, we're going to dissect and figure it out together. That's hard for people to grasp.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges with design thinking is that before you dive into the design process, we typically start off with an idea, like we should do this, that'd be so cool.
Yeah.
What design thinking challenges us to do is take a step back from our idea, let it go, and learn about what we're trying to do, understand the context in which we're working, understand the people with whom we're going to be engaging, with really a beginner's mind. Like, take a step away from your own preconceived notions of the best way to intervene or create something. And from that point of inquiry, you move into a generative brainstorming process of coming up with lots of ideas. And then based on what you've learned, you narrow down your ideas to a couple that you want to try. And again, you're trying it in the spirit of learning and having deeper understanding.
And feedback from the community, right?
Yeah. But it is, like, because we come from a place of wanting to know exactly what's going to happen or what the idea is, it can be kind of an uncomfortable place. And so, but I think there's a lot of value in leaning into that discomfort and trusting each other, trusting yourself. Although I think that there are certainly, I think there are elements to that discomfort that are important to acknowledge and to be gentle around.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So with that said, what are some models we can point to where this works and people are using it? Are corporations using this?
So you mean like the collective impact model or the design thinking?
The design
oh man, there's a lot of different groups that use it. Yeah, so so companies use it. There's a lot of, it's actually been making, there's a lot of connection with sort of the entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurial process. Steve Blank, who's an entrepreneurship guy, much more than a guy, who is out in California, he has been pioneering what he calls the lean launchpad methodology. And the idea is that rather than starting with a static linear business plan, you start with understanding who your customers are, really getting at the source of what it is that they need or what it is that they want, and then designing around that. So again, we get back to that idea of taking that step back, understanding what it is you want to do before you figure out how you're going to do it.
Right.
So yeah, definitely businesses are doing it.
And communities are using it, right?
Absolutely.
Like the Acumen class is based on a model where communities are using it for
Yeah.
poverty and different things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of participatory strategies are developing out of that, and the Acumen model is really cool. It's a free online class that groups can sign up
She's
for.
making me take.
Here, take it. It's gonna be so cool.
I know, I'm excited.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely communities are starting to employ it, and nonprofits like Acumen who are interested in promoting this kind of work in communities are leveraging it as a platform for encouraging this kind of community engagement, citizen-focused action.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I am so excited.
I am too.
I cannot wait to begin this process. We're going to begin this summer.
Yep.
And we'll be coming out to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
And engage you guys.
We can't wait to meet you.
I know. Can't wait to meet you.
All of you.
This is great. Thank you so much, Megan.
Thanks, Carol.
Yeah.
Yay.